2 days a week
Yep.
or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry your neighbors are pissed because they lost their jobs.
Good evening. We're going to call this meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Bath Township Board of Trustees for Thursday, August 6th. Welcome, welcome. Let's start with a roll call.
Mr. Fewins-Bliss?
I'm here.
Ms. Butler-Challender here. Ms. Wilson?
Here.
Ms. Hagerman?
Here.
Ms. Kellerman?
Here.
Mr. Kotke?
Here.
Mr. Montri?
Here.
Thank you.
We're all here. Item 2 on the agenda is civic reflection. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. So please stand and join us if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. And now a moment of silence. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have an agenda for our approval. It is a one-topic agenda tonight. We are somewhat limited because of the rules of posting special meetings to our topics, so I would ask for approval of the agenda. Thank you. We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there any discussion or conversation about what's on our agenda tonight? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have ourselves an agenda. For folks in the audience, there are copies of that agenda on the lectern that you are welcome to have. Also, I've included a memo that did not make it into the packet, frankly, because I finished it today, for the board. I've distributed it to you. It's also on the lectern for folks in the audience. Any disclosures of conflicts of interest tonight? All right, then we'll move on to item 5, which is public statement 1. For those in the audience who'd like to address the board, we'd welcome you up to the lectern, introduce yourself, and start speaking. We'll turn on the timer you can see on the TVs for 3 minutes. And this is designated for statements concerning current agenda items. There's a second public statement opportunity at the end of the meeting where you can talk to us about other township business, but this first one is only on the agenda items today, which is frankly the ballot language for on November election, perhaps millage. Again, if you would like to address the board, please step up to the lectern, introduce yourself, and we'll start your timer.
Good evening. My name is Bill Howe. I live on Tamarack Trail, Bath. With the taxpayers facing such an affordability crisis, I was extremely surprised you have scheduled this meeting to consider, another millage increase. The taxpayers this week unequivocally voted no on your millage increase that appeared to be quietly set forth in the hope that people would not notice the millage increase and it would pass. 6 out of 10 voters in the township who cast their ballot voted not to authorize a tax increase. And here you are, bringing forth additional proposals when you should be considering expense reductions to the current 2026 budget. This budget shortfall is something you have collectively created, and it has been your unwillingness or lack of ability to have addressed this issue sooner. The township has not taken any meaningful actions to significantly reduce expenditures. You are management top-heavy, provide excessive wages, and your legal costs are way too high as well. The administration has relied too much on the supervisor and the superintendent, who have obviously not provided the necessary leadership to keep us out of this mess. Thus, I'm suggesting you begin correcting these problems by terminating the superintendent's contract, terminating the deputy superintendent's contract, contract out your assessor duties, seek a change in the current legal firm, and you, Mr. Supervisor, resign. Bottom line, I cannot believe, with the affordability crisis we are facing, that you, after being told no on any tax increases, you are bringing this back to the well again. You should be shamed. I know I am for you.
Thank you, Bill. Would anyone else like to address the board tonight? Oh, okay, go ahead.
I am Mike Goodwin. I live on Robson Road. I just want to say I second just about everything Mr. Hall just said. And the one point I would like to bring up to you board members and administrative people is that a lot of us, there's a lot of retired people in this community now. And we've worked better part of our adult lives, just like you're doing right now. And to be retired and finally be able to enjoy, you know, some time in our golden years. And we put, like most of us, we put a little savings away, made some investments, and the problem is those checks that come in the mail, those pension checks and those Social Security checks, they stay right here. So once you retire, you base that on what you've put away and you feel you have enough to get by with, and this tax increase is getting way out of hand, and it just keeps going up and up and up, and that makes it tough for a lot of people. So I just would like you to keep that in mind. I do believe there's other, I worked up here for 14 years. I know some of the careless spending and misuse of the funds that go on up here. So I'm gonna do my best to campaign to everyone I know that we don't push forward on another tax increase. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else in the audience like to address the board? Okay, thank you. We'll close public statement and move on to new business. We have no new business items for introduction and discussion. We have one item for action, ballot language for November election. Colleagues, regardless of some of the feedback we've gotten tonight, we had made it clear that we would revisit this issue should the millage fail. So we are there. The speakers were correct that the public told us no in a pretty resounding way on the full Headley rollback. We have options, and obviously tonight is about those options. We're limited in our conversation tonight about the ballot language. Obviously, there will be some discussion about other revenue opportunities, but I think that's a larger conversation that we will have in future meetings. But we do need to come to a decision functionally tonight in order to legally get on the ballot if that's something that we would like to do. The items in your packet are what we agreed we would have in the packet, different options for us to do a Headley rollback, again, the full and 3 other options. These are samples. We could come up with some other number. We could do a different type of millage. All of those things are still on the table. All of those things would need to be decided tonight, again, because of the timing. But those are the things in front of us. Should we decide asking for the same or a different millage increase is the right way to go, should we decide that not asking for those things is the right way to go, we will have future meetings to talk about revenue and cuts. Again, contrary to some of the comments, we have made significant cuts, mostly on the backs of our staff, and I want to further acknowledge that to the staff and to the public. Karen also has some cuts prepared for us, so we could also go that route, do all cuts and no increase. We could try to do another increase and no cuts, and anything in between. But again, tonight our primary discussion is, do we want to have something on the ballot in November? What would we like that to be? So with that, I'll open the floor to you all. Well, I guess one more comment. The memo that I distributed is an updated memo. You've seen this memo twice before. I updated the numbers with the new data from 2025's audit. So you can see again the budgeted amount we were expected, the actual amount we ended with, and where our fund balance lies. And again, contrary to public belief, we have almost $3 million in the fund balance, so it has not been depleted or completely spent, but it is not at the level that we have been recommended by our financial advisors to be at. It is below market for the region on where fund balances typically are, and so that's part of the conversation. So with that, I'll shut up and open it up for you all to lead us where we want to go. Anyone have any opening thoughts?
I do.
Take it away.
Two things. I think a lot of people, including myself, don't totally understand the Headley Amendment Act, or amendment. And also, if you can have $2.9 million in the general fund and still be in trouble. And I think that needs to be explained. You know, such as the first gentleman said, you know, let's fire everybody. Hell, let's all walk out and then see what happens to the township, you know? At least we're trying here. We don't, you know, we should have a suggestion box, I guess, out there and have everybody put their name and their suggestions in it, but that's all I can say is maybe a little more education in regards to taxes, revenue, and spending and all of that, and maybe people will understand more. Not necessarily agree, but at least will understand, myself included. That's just my opening statement.
Recorded.
Recorded, yeah.
Sherry?
Thank you.
I was asked by a group here in town if it was Tuesday, if I thought it would pass or not. I said, no, I don't think it will. And I want to educate our people. They just made comments of fire everybody here and whatnot. I would like to see, myself, a comparison of like townships. What is your office staff? I mean, same population, same similarities. What is your office staff? This is just some of my ideas. The efficiency of the office. All the salaries of our chiefs, our trustees, our treasurer, supervisor, superintendent. People should know, what does this compare? Is everybody here being paid double? Give me a break. I don't think so. Compare apples to apples. The information of the property values in these townships that we're comparing, taxation rates in these townships that are approximately our size. I'd like to see this comparison from the state of Michigan townships, perhaps 30 or 40 different townships, so we can put it in black and white, get this from MTA, get real figures, so that we can't listen to this and say, no, I know that's not true. We should know that. We should be able to stand our ground on that. And I would like to see this in somehow clearly sent out by mail. If I pay $1,000 in land tax, what does this mean to me as a person? As we were mentioned last time, 8th grade education. I want it so that I don't have to look up my bill and see what's my property worth. I know how much I pay. How much more will that add per $1,000 of taxation? Let's be simple. People need to understand this, that we can give it to them. Our taxpayers need to understand the situation of the Headley Amendment and understand, as you said too, that we haven't kept up with the times here. Another thought, that if we can influence it at all, because I'm sure it's been done at state level, but eliminating school taxes for those over 62 is our older population. In Georgia, for instance, my relatives down there, they paid less than half tax when they became 62. They took that away from their taxation. So it makes it easier for the retired folks on fixed incomes. I know we can't do it, it's a state level decision, but can we put some influence toward that? That's all.
Thanks, Sherry. Other thoughts from this side, maybe?
Fired up, Kate.
She's got many thoughts, Bruce.
I do have many thoughts, but I guess it just echoing what Ray and Sherry said earlier is, yeah, I mean, we read a lot of things and they are very simple statements, not not simple in intent, but simple in actually carrying them out. Well, fire the staff. Well, okay, sure, but you're gonna be awfully upset when you come up to the township when you have a problem with your sewer bill and there's nobody here to help you. Or you're gonna be awfully disappointed when you call 911 because your house is on fire or you're having a medical emergency and nobody can show up because they're already out on a call and that's it. I mean, these are the services that we provide to our community, and maybe it is on us that we haven't done a good enough job of tooting our own horn and celebrating what we do offer. Because honestly, I think the people in Bath Township get a pretty good bang for their buck. The staff that we have, when the chiefs come and give their reports of how many calls they've gone to in the last quarter, major things, plane crashes, shootings, accidents on the highway. I mean, large-scale things that are handled efficiently and effectively and competently, protecting our public. They're doing all of these things on the smallest budget of surrounding communities, tax-wise. And it is hard. It is hard for us to decide if we want to raise taxes. I mean, everyone at this table is a taxpayer. We all own property in Bath Township, and we are all facing an equal tax increase. But I think we understand the reality of what's happening behind the scenes, and we have asked our employees to make some pretty big sacrifices in the last year. And if you cut any more, we're just gonna get to the point where nobody will work here. I mean, we already have had police openings for years. We haven't been fully staffed. And the same thing for the fire department. We haven't been fully staffed. If you pay people less, there's no way we'll ever get fully staffed. I truly understand trying to find that balance of cutting and providing services, and you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. And I guess I'm just really disappointed that the people in Bath Township don't have faith in what their elected officials asked from them. And maybe that's on us to just do some better education about what we actually do and what we're actually asking for. But I don't really have an answer to your question of what should we do next. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't either. You know, the bottom line is you get what you pay for, and you don't get what you don't pay for. You know, it's pretty simplistic, but that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not like we're having wild parties or anything. And, you know, none of us are professional politicians. None of us are professional PhD tax advisors.
But we need to come back with an answer for people that accuse us of things, and it's been online.
That doesn't matter. They'll
It's-
accuse you.
well,
It doesn't matter.
But black and white would, facts would
So I have a
confront
fact that I think would be helpful.
Great.
Can
We
hear
moved
that?
here, Headley is confusing.
Yeah.
It is.
So let's just use numbers. We moved here in 2008. Our taxes were uncapped. Our Bath allocation tax at that point, I have it up here, you all can go, maybe that's an important thing, you all can go to BSNA and
What do
look
you-
up all of your tax forms
What do
by
you
your
mean when
address.
your taxes
Well,
were uncapped? What do you mean that?
So when you buy a house, it is reassessed. So the people that bought the house before us bought it in X year. I don't remember what year Kelvin
Yeah.
and Rachel bought it. You can look that up on here as well.
I just wanted you to
Right,
explain.
yes, yeah, so then when they bought it, say, we bought it for $180,000 in 2008, that's what we paid for our house. When they bought it, I don't know, it was less than that. So when we buy it, or when someone else buys it, that new amount, or the new assessment, is in that price that we paid for that, is reflected in the taxes. So it becomes quote-unquote uncapped, and the tax is reset. So in 2008, our Bath Township allocation was $269.71. It's on your winter bill, it only comes on your winter bill. In 2025, 18 years later, our taxes that we just paid last winter to the township allocation portion, which is all we can control, that's what we see. We don't see, there's 61 mills on that, we don't see it. We paid $268.05. We paid less on our township allocation in 2025 than we did on our township allocation in 2008. So when people ask, why does the township, whether we frame it as not have any money, or, you know, why is it becoming harder to pay bills? it's because of Headley and Proposition A, without getting into the complicated things, we are actually paying $1, I can do quick math, $1.66 less to the township than I paid 18 years ago at our house. So that is partially why it becomes harder for the township to continue to have revenue to pay bills.
Well, and throw on top of that, less money from the state,
Right.
which the municipal revenue sharing has gone down.
Township
Or
allocation,
it's been reallocated to the county, which we also don't have control over. They might throw us some crumbs for our road projects or whatever, but they certainly don't have to. And less money from the federal government. I mean, yeah, we're all paying more taxes, but it isn't going to the local level, which is sad because at the local level is where you get also the most bang for your buck. You get the biggest day-to-day return on your tax money at the local level.
And what's happening, so our mills in 2008, so we can say that in 1978, the charter township was 5 mills is what the voters approved. Because of Headley, as that number decreases, and so in 2008, we were at 3.7 and change. In 2025, we were at 3.5 mills. So that mill that are coming to the township are less the further we go. So what the board was asking was that's what that Headley override is a reset of that up to, in this case, it was up to that original amount, up to 5 mills, which is the amount, max amount a charter township can ask for. And so I think where we're at now is saying, okay, the voters did not want to push that back up to that 5 mills. That's what the voters said, like, that's okay. There are also voters out there that are saying, maybe through conversations and on social media, which we all monitor to see what's out there, some more than others. Like, so what we have heard and what was expressed the last time at our last board meeting was that this was put on the August ballot not as a sneaky way to sneak something through when less people vote in a primary. It was put on this ballot so that if this happened, we could then revisit this and say, hey, we have a legal opportunity with the way proposals work to put that onto the November ballot, and we can have draft language of these 4, the 0.5, 0.8, 1.0, or what was asked, the 1.4 and change. So I think that.
Yeah, isn't
what
that
we-
sneaky timing?
No.
It honestly, I think is responsible timing, because what good would it be for us to go through and make a budget for 2027, and then get the results in November, and have to go through and spend a lot of resources making a new budget based on new numbers? That seems irresponsible to me.
So I think where we're at is asking ourselves, is there 2 parts, right? One, do something want to go on the ballot in November, because we have 9 days to get that to the county?
That's it.
The 11th.
8 days? What, the
I think it
11th?
was by the 11th.
5 days.
Okay, 5 days, so, and if yes, which of those 4, whether we call them contingency plans or forward-thinking, would be most appropriate?
Or perhaps some other ballot.
Or some other, yes,
That is not in the packet, but we could ask our legal to draft for us.
yes. And so people, if the people are not aware, both online and in the crowd here, that we had asked, the board had asked, before I was on the board had asked, when this initial proposal was drafted, to draft other ones with other language, so that that was something that would be able to be reviewed
Plan Bs
in
and
case
Cs.
of current situation.
Yeah, yeah. Another fact that I found interesting that I shared with most of you on the board yesterday, was that 84% of local property tax millages in the state passed on Tuesday. So to me, that does send a message, perhaps, Kate, to what you were saying. I do think we own some of this. We didn't communicate it very well. We didn't have a very good articulated strategy, but also articulated, I don't want to say reason, but reasoning why this was happening now. You know, we sort of had to move quickly because of the August deadline. So, you know, 84% of the rest of the state is also struggling, just like folks in Bath, and many communities struggling more than folks in Bath, but still came out to support these types of things. So that does tell me that perhaps there's some work on our end to do to communicate the issue, why this was important, where there's holes, what cuts we have made. It's frustrating to hear people say, I know where there's, you know, fraud and abuse, but that has not been shared with us at all. Like, if you know about fraud and abuse, please let us know. Send me an email. Go to Tony Spagnuolo and tell him he needs to prosecute folks. Don't keep that a secret. It's not helpful for us if there's things that we could make right and fix. I do think the question tonight has to be brought back to, what do we think about another ballot initiative in November? Is that something we have the appetite for? If the answer to that is yes, how much appetite do we have? Is it one of the proposals we've got in our packet, or are folks thinking about something alternative?
What was our target amount that we would need to take from the general fund?
I believe the
Or, I'm
answer
sorry,
to
fund
that
balance. Fund
is
balance
about
is what I meant.
$550,000 in this budget, Karen, that we have budgeted to take from fund balance. Karen and I have been talking, though, over the last couple of days, much to Karen's credit. She has traditionally had some swing in her budgets to the black. So while we have budgeted for $550,000 to take from the fund balance, it may not end that way. And I don't want to presuppose or set you up for anything, Karen, if this isn't one of those years, but traditionally, her budgets have come in far less than we have budgeted for. So another kudos to you and your staff for not even spending all of the money we budgeted for you to spend. Again, another reason why talented, trained, experienced, educated staff matter and why we need to pay for that. You know, one of the recent budgets, we budgeted to be $2 million in the red, and we ended up just south of $1 million in the red. In the reds isn't good, but that's a $1.2 million swing to the black, saved us $1.2 million over the course of the year. So I do think that there's opportunity here for some right sizing in the budgeting, and maybe again, this 550 isn't what we will need, but it is what we budgeted for in fiscal year 26 to pull from the fund balance. That does not include a list of things that Karen and Jennifer and Brenda, as our internal folks, have created about new expenditures that will come in the next year. Karen, do you want to just give us like the highlights? You don't need to go the bulleted list, but some of the things that, you know, anything 100K plus maybe.
One of those items, I had many things written, so just give me 1 second.
It's okay.
Mike, is it on? One of those things is, we talked about, BSNA is moving to the cloud. We will be required to do that. That is the software that the township relies on for assessing utility billing, help me, ladies.
Tax, payroll.
Taxes,
Delinquent
payroll,
property
delinquent
taxes.
property taxes. It is yes, all of the information the township relies on. That is at the cost of $130,000, and that was an estimate we received last week. 6 months ago, it was $13,000 cheaper. So you can see, as we wait, it only gets more expensive. Election equipment, we will be required by the state to purchase new election equipment at the cost of about $120,000. The state may or may not help us with that. That is yet to be determined. There have been grants in the past. At this time, we are not aware of any grants. That could change if the state decides they can get money from the federal government, or they decide to put their own money in the game. There may be grants for that, but that will be another $120,000. The MERS liability, we made a change to the retirement plan for our employees, both in union and non-union. There was a $318,000 liability that will be owed next year for that, which is higher than the $244,000 we're paying this year. It is becoming more funded. last year we were at 72%, the year before, excuse me, it goes by calendar year. It would be the 2025 is now 78% funded. But we knew when we made that change, from legal counsel and those that were advising us that that would be painful in the short, to near future, and that is correct, but we are becoming more funded. So those changes, are helping, but we will have that liability for some time.
And just to underscore that, that is, we ended the staff pension.
Correct.
We ended it for
Ended it.
non-union staff.
Correct.
So that was an elimination, a cut. We knew that we would have this additional expense for a short term, knowing that the long-term expense would go down.
Correct.
So this is an example of one of those cuts and changes we made. That was
Correct.
pretty dramatic.
That was
It
a
is.
significant cut.
It was a significant cut. Taylor and I met last week with our health insurance plan. We have an agreement that we will work with the union to review those changes, but we will not have cost for next year's healthcare plan to make any changes. We made a significant change last year. Staff are now paying 15% of their own healthcare. The township's still paying 85%, but we don't know what the costs will look like for next year. We have seen double-digit increases. We will not have those until at least October, possibly into November. Our open enrollment period will be in December with the employees, but any changes to that would, of course, hit them between that October and December timeframe. We also, to Sherry's point, the class and compensation study, we have undertaken that. That will tell you apples to apples what this township pays for its employees compared to other townships, making sure that those position descriptions are correct. And we'll take into account what other like municipalities pay for those positions. From mine, the board, they'll be looking at healthcare down to just the part-time people and interns that we employ. But that will give us that information. We are expected to have that, I think, in 90 days. 90 days.
And who is doing that? The professional?
Help me with the.
Municipal consulting services?
And I mean, that's something that requires a professional that you have to pay for.
Correct.
And that's why we're doing it.
We are
so that
paying
we can
for
get
that.
definitive answers.
$15,000 for a class and compensation study, for that to be done professionally. We are also in the midst of doing that facilities and grounds assessment, which is taking a look at all of our buildings, which that is something that was identified in the strategic plan. So we are currently doing that assessment to look at the aging structure of our buildings and how we can be more efficient in how we are using our buildings, what buildings we have, and then what safety improvements we may need to make in those buildings, such as the DPW is going to have much of the same issue that we had down at the fire department, that you will need a diesel mitigation system to keep the people that are in the building safe from fumes and toxic odors. So that is something that we will need to look at eventually. I mentioned the new union contracts, and we're also still looking at the fire truck. I know a lot of people have indicated that we increased the millage for that. We did in fact do that. We've also added significant staffing to the fire department, full-time staffing to the fire department, as well as improve their roster of paid-on-call individuals that serve. Trustee Hagerman was correct. We don't have full staff in the police department, so we will continue to hire for those positions that are currently vacant.
Thank you.
So that's just a simple sort of
Correct.
brainstormed list from this afternoon about major items, and those are, you know, 100K and above. There are others that are additional. And it's, this is the type of thing that I think we failed to get across to the community is many of these are not in our control, our state law, are required by contracts. We can't get out of them and we need to find money for them. And sure, cuts is one of those options, but also other revenue sources is one of them. And it's our job to do what we think is best, and what we thought was best was to ask the voters for this increase, and they said no, and that's okay. That was their job in this as well. But now it is our job to, again, try to figure out what the next step is. So I'm just gonna put the question on the table, is anyone interested or comfortable moving forward another ballot proposal in November of any kind? Is that even on the table for us?
I think it should be, and I honestly don't understand what's so upsetting about it. Like,
What
it's
the
a
what?
vote.
Say it
Like,
again.
it's a box that you have
Oh.
to like color in. We're having an election anyway, right?
Yeah.
In the state of Michigan. And I guess I can understand that people feel like we haven't listened to them. But at the same time, I almost feel like we're saying, yes, but you haven't listened to us.
Bingo.
Or we haven't explained it
Or
well
we
enough.
haven't explained it well enough.
And that's- I think that's
I
it.
saw the
I think
phrase
that's huge.
taxation without representation used today, and I think that that's exactly the opposite of what's happening.
Yeah.
Is we do have the power. We could levy some mills. We could just
Without
flat
going to
out
the
do it.
voters.
Without asking the voters, we could, right now, make a motion and levy 3 mills. That is within our purview on this board and the laws of the state of Michigan. We are absolutely not doing that.
Yet.
We are saying,
Yet.
let's ask the voters with some more information, do you want to do this? And maybe that more information is going to be, if the answer is still no, that's fine. That's still your right to vote no. But these are the areas where we are going to have to cut. And I think that that's maybe the more information that we need. Is if the answer is still no, then we need to clearly say, whatever it is, no road budget, no senior center, no Park Lake, no recreation programs.
Senior center.
Like, whatever it is. I'm not making a list right now.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that we need to be specific, like, if this is our budget that we're gonna be putting forward based on no, then this is what it's going to look like. So people can maybe have a more informed decision to make as to what that property tax actually would be paying for. And when we decided to do the full restore to 5, I mean, Al was part of that discussion, and he said, and I think it's why we went with it, he said, don't ask for a little bit here and there. People don't want that. They don't want a little police and fire. They don't want a millage for the fire truck. They don't want a thing for the roads. They don't want to be this,
Right.
piecemealed a million times. Just ask for it. Just do it once and get it over with. The full amount would have absolutely given us cushion to not draw from the fund balance, to start the process of setting aside money for a fire truck, so that when the time comes to buy one, you have an account there to pay for it. It would have given us the ability to do some of the CIP projects. I mean, the planning commission spends a lot of time reviewing these projects and scoring them and recommending, things like more recreation. And when we go through the surveys, that is number one. Every survey for Bath Township, what's the number one thing that we like about Bath Township and that we want more of? It's parks, it's nature, it's outdoor, it's recreation, it's trails. That's like number one every single time. And CIP projects would allow us to do a little bit more with that, to enhance some of the things in Park Lake, in the parks and recreations. But if that's not what people want, if they don't want to pay for the extra, then maybe we go to more of the bare bones, that break-even point.
And unfortunately, by the 11th of this month, when we have to determine whether or not we're going to put something on the November ballot, we really don't really know how to put a definitive list of what we're going to cut, if
Why
that doesn't
not?
go, No, I mean,
Because the budget isn't given to us until September 1st.
yeah.
I mean, unless,
But September 1st is way before November.
but he's saying, like,
By
Next week.
August 11th, you have to determine what you're going to put on the November ballot.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, but,
What you're saying is part of the communication in between, we can make a list. Yeah, that's.
I mean, I have some of that already proposed, in my possession.
Yeah, I think Karen has been very appropriately cautious to not show her list. So it does not feel like it is a threat to the public that, if you don't vote yes, we shall cut this thing that you love. And also not to scare our staff.
Yeah.
If I was sitting in, the Parks Department and Karen came to the board and said it's on the list, I would start looking for another job.
Yeah.
And
you have
frankly,
to.
we have one of the best parks people we've had in, 50 years right now, and I'd hate to lose him because he's afraid to lose his job. That might be how it works, right? That might be how it goes. But I just want to acknowledge that part of the reason we have not put out a list is so we're not scaring the public and we're not scaring our staff to head for the hills.
I heard today, the senior center staff is scared to death. They have already rumors flying, whatever. But if 84% passed in the state, that's something we haven't done right here, in my mind. Communication, Headley rollback, all of this.
Sherry, when you said people want to know what their taxes would increase, I can tell you, people have called the township and the assessor has given them the information. He has walked them through, he has given them the example. So they can call and talk to the assessor. He will walk them through it if they want to know, if this passes, what will my taxes be?
Sure.
I mean,
But-
it's a calculation also.
I mean, theoretically, we could put it through the math machine and send a mailer out to every household in the township to say exactly that, if that's part of the campaign we wanted to do,
That's-
in an educational way, to be
I think that'd
clear,
be
not as a
important.
vote yes or
No,
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 but
no.
in a factual way.
This is what it would mean to you.
But is
That's-
that how we want to spend money?
Is that, yeah?
I mean, that's a fair question.
It costs
but
money to
might-
educate.
It might be. I mean, it's clear we missed the mark. We've all talked about it, right? None of us are surprised by this.
No.
It's clear that we need to
We
do
need to
some
do something
different
different.
communication. Karen and
I
I
would-
have been discussing this, for the last several weeks, and we meet weekly. Almost every week, she or I bring to each other an example from another community that produced some glossy sort of trifold, beautiful thing with charts and graphs, and just like, man, I wish we had the ability. We don't have the in-house staff to do that. We don't have the time to do that. We don't have the fancy paper to print it on.
Yeah.
And we could spend money in that way, but we chose not to, but maybe that is the route. Because they were very clear and I thought very compelling, and the evidence would show 84% across the state, those things helped work. So, I would agree if we decide to do something tonight for November, we probably need to do something more strongly around education.
I mean, we did, to the deputy superintendent, in your credit, like, you did put out a mailing. I do take issue with people saying we did this quietly. We held a town hall. It's been on Facebook. We have a section of the website that's been dedicated to this. And so I mean, I know there's more we could do. I won't say we did all we could do because that's not true, but I do think that we were not quiet about this. There's been a lot of talk about it on Facebook. So
And not just Facebook.
not just Facebook, correct.
Yeah.
Not just Facebook.
I
I
also
mean,
took exception to that. I mean, we didn't quietly, sneakily do anything.
no.
That's just, disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, something interesting that I thought, one of the gentlemen who came to the town hall said, like, I didn't know this was happening. The only reason I knew is because Karen told me, which is so great. And, our response was like, yeah, we put it on Facebook. And he was like, I'm not on Facebook, which I thought was a fair response. But what I haven't been able to get from people is what is the vehicle they want to be engaged?
Yes. What is the, we
Because
don't
if
have paper.
as I've talked to residents, I sort of make a joke about this, but it's not really a joke. It's like, please don't send me an email, definitely don't text me, don't show up at my door, don't mail me things. It's like, here's the things not to do, but also I want to know about every single thing that's happening. It would be really helpful for folks to give us guidance on where are they at. If it's Facebook for some people, we should do Facebook. If it's a mailer for other people, we should do a mailer. Like, I think it's probably a plethora of different things. But it would be helpful to get feedback from the community.
Yeah.
This is the way I receive information, and I would like to receive it that way. Because, we used to do the newsletter more times, but that was expensive, so we cut that back. But maybe we need to ramp that up because it was effective. It's just hard because we get very little feedback.
No feedback.
So it does sound like there is perhaps at least a appetite to discuss something for November. Would someone like to put on the table one of the options in front of us or an option that we haven't thought of? For those who don't have the packet in front of them, the options in front of us, which are just examples, they're not what we must do. Half a mil increase would get $304,000 more annually. 0.8 mil increase would get us $490,000 a year annually, which is closer to the gap that we're experiencing, at least in this fiscal budget. A 1 mil increase would get us $609,000. And again, the full that we asked for would get $893,000.
And the full is what?
1.4652.
4.5.
It's basically
1.47,
pi,
yeah.
if you can name it all the way out.
What is pie? Blueberry, my favorite.
So I think it was said in the past that the .8 mil would catch us up to today, per se. When you say that, does that save money for the fire truck? Does that do any of the extra stuff?
Anything less than the actual would have to be paired with cuts.
Okay. So if we.
Not as
even if we-
not as extreme cuts, but still cuts.
So if we do the .8 mils, we would still have cuts?
Correct.
Okay.
And that would only be for this year.
I mean, that's all I can
Cost.
speak to.
Yes,
is,
yeah, it's cost
The
increase
current,
in
the
the-
current costs.
Yeah, and if we do nothing, we do have an estimate, if we do nothing, there will be an increase in the net amount of tax revenue we receive. It's about $260,000. A large portion of that is police and fire millage that must be spent in those departments, which is where they are supposed to be spent and where we will spend it. But that does not then help the general fund, other than perhaps to alleviate some of the pressure around transferring general fund dollars into police and fire. But what we've
Correct.
just heard from Karen is there's some added expenses in police and fire.
Correct.
That would be covered by that. So, you know, I've heard a criticism from folks that the amount of money is going up, and that is true, and I want to be clear and transparent about that. Just like in our household budgets, though, the amount going up is not enough to cover the amount that the expenses are going up, which is why we have come to the voters to ask for more. So to Brenda's point, the .8 mils would perhaps cover us in a 2026 budget, but what we are expecting in the future may be higher than that, which would put us perhaps more closely to the 1 mil increase, which would be $609,000 for the next year.
And we would still be 60K below. I think we want to, like, it gets us close, but close is not.
Yeah.
Right at .8, it's if it generates 490.
Yes.
And we're expected 550 shortfall, that's,
Yes.
yeah.
Paired with some, and again, we're talking about, just to be clear with people, we're talking about 2026 budget and 2027 taxes. So while we're trying to use that as an example, because that's all we can do right now, they're actually not together. They're two separate dollar amounts.
So I think, not to use our house as the example, but I'm going to use our house, because I think people have, that's what I've heard, is like, what does this mean, like the people that are calling? So our house's taxable value is 107,000. 107,000, so it's 214, so about half of that, right, is our taxable, roughly. So at 1 mil, it would be an increase of $107 per year. Like, that's what it would increase, and we are, so that, it looks like the median household in Bath value is 293, so half of that would be 146, so we are a little below, our house is a little below that amount. So, so at it would be 107, at 1 mil, it would be $107 annually for us. So, math-wise would be less than 12, less than 10, less than $10 a month is what it would come out for. And I don't wanna say that that's nothing, right? That's
No.
$10 a month. I don't think,
It adds
I don't
up.
want people to think that we're saying like that's nothing. But that's about, for ours, a little bit under the median would be that, so it'd be then 147 for the median household in Bath. And some people are above it and some people are below it, that's why it's the median.
Yeah,
So kind of get an
and-
idea of what it would cost median-wise for people, because I feel like that's what they've been asking, is what does this cost?
And to be, again, fully transparent, as the value of your home increases over time, that number would increase over time as
Yes.
well. Perhaps at the same time that Headley is rolling back even the 1 mil that we increase.
Right.
So again, you've got those factors of going up and down. I heard just a lot of pushback on my taxes have been going up every year. And that is true, but the tax rate the township has assessed is not going up, it's actually going down.
Like I said,
But the
we're paying
value of
$1
your
less.
home is going up, which in general is good for you and us.
And
That's
also
the same as
something
my
we have
house.
no control over.
Right. We're limited by the rules and laws of assessing.
I also think that it's important to like, just look at the vote and say like 6 to 4 is the gentleman that, you know, every 6 out of 10 people, like, if one person changed that vote, that's an even. Like 80-20, 70-30 is a big difference. 7 out of 10. But like someone, 6 people could get up here and say you didn't listen to us by putting this on the vote, and 4 people could get up here and say you listened to us by putting this on the ballot. So, right, 1,300 people voted yes-ish, 1,900 people voted no-ish. There's still 1,300 people that voted, and what we've heard on social media and in person is that there's always going to be a yes group, there's always going to be a no group. We have heard there is a group here that has been saying yes, but not not what was asked here. That is,
Yeah.
multiple people have said that.
I've been told that over and over, like, it was too much all at once, something smaller is more palatable. So, I think that is an important point that, I hear this from so many people, mostly on social media, like, you're not listening to us, and it sort of feels like if we don't do exactly what they want and they say, it means we're not listening, but there's a person in the house next door is saying something different, and that is what makes our job challenging, to try to hear all of those voices and still make a decision about the business of the township to make sure we can continue running and operating. So it seems like we're heading toward a maybe 0.8 or 1 mil landing. Is there another proposal, or does someone feel strongly about either of those? Again, I want to open the floor for anyone who feels strongly that we should not at all ask another question, that there's a voice for you here. We could slash and burn and see how that serves citizens and serves our government and operations. That is also an option. I just want to acknowledge that we have heard those things too, and they are on the table.
Nobody's gonna say it.
I'll make a motion that we, yeah. Since Al had asked for all of it, and I feel like maybe the seat.
Stick
the
your
seat
neck out at
talking, that, make a motion to,
He's zooming in on you right now.
yeah, I'm just thinking about it, to put the 1.0 mil drafted language that we have, on the November general election ballot.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. More discussion. If folks are following along in the packet, this is page 19. No, is it? There's two 19s.
I'd like
No.
to say something.
There
No?
aren't page numbers on it.
There are no.
That might be the one that was copied over from our last full.
Oh, I
last
definitely have
meeting,
page
and we
numbers.
also
Sorry
have
if
these.
those are not correct.
Yes.
It's the third option.
I have 3 page
I will
things.
count.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you're counting pages, it's page 9.
How come your writing's always so small?
Maybe that's another time we can talk about that.
Okay.
Just don't hit me because it's so small. So 1 mil would generate $609,500. So that is the motion and a second on the table. Is there more discussion? This would put this
I'd
on the
just like to
November
make-
ballot.
I would like to make a statement,
Make it.
because I seconded this motion. In my social security, I make about 1,300 net a month. And I screwed around for 50 years and didn't save anything. And the taxes on my property, I struggle to pay them. But this is important enough that I seconded that motion. And I'll struggle to pay it happily.
Thanks, Ray.
Yep.
Other discussion, any dissent? Anybody feel strongly against this is the pathway, or have another idea? Obviously, there's a motion on the floor, but there's always room for other ideas.
I think this is the way that we give people their voice to vote. And I think that along with this, we definitely need to spell out what our budget will look like without it. And not in a threatening way,
Not at all.
but in a realistic way. At the end of the day, it's on us to balance the budget for the township, or to ensure that the township operates in a balanced budget.
In an illustrative way, so everybody
And if
can
there
know
isn't
it.
enough money, then yeah, you have to make some cuts. And some cuts, I mean, no cuts are easy, honestly, especially when you're talking about employees who, most of whom are our neighbors and our friends and community members. That's definitely not an easy, it upsets me when I hear comments or see comments on Facebook, just fire the staff, just get rid of them. I mean, these are our friends, these are our neighbors, these are our community members. These are people sitting next to you in the audience right now. And you're flippantly advocating for the loss of their job and insulting them that they're not doing a good job in the first place. And I would argue people to think twice before they make those comments publicly, because they're probably commenting about the person who might be coming to help them out in their next emergency. And I don't think that that is the level of professionalism that we want to encourage, or is anti that. Getting off track here, but what I'm trying to say is I think we do need to be realistic about what those cuts will look like, because they are more hard conversations that we are going to have as a board, hearing the feedback from the community and the reality of where some of their heads are. And I do really like the idea of, as Sherry requested, just spelling it out. If your tax bill was this is what it will be. If your tax bill was this was what it would be. In some rounded dollar range, or pick 5 random houses across the range from low to high, and show what that change would be, and hopefully people could extrapolate from there as to where they would fall into that. Because at the end of the day, I do think that what we're asking for is not that impactful as some people feel it is, but it would be an increase. And just like Ray, I'm always struggling to figure out how I'm gonna get my tax bill paid, but I also know that at the local level, it's paying for services that I want to have.
That you need.
And in some cases that we need, or I want them to be there when I need them.
Yep.
Whatever they may be. Whether it's the farmer's market, or soccer club, or whatever it is. They're things that that's the community that I want to live in and that I want to be a part of, is one that offers those services. And has good roads.
Other thoughts about the motion on the floor?
I think we get really good service we get good bang for the buck for our legal counsel. Thank you very much. In this day and age, it's really CYA, for the township. We could be spending millions that we don't have in liability, claims and stuff. Heaven forbid somebody spill hot coffee in their lap again, Frivolous.
Anything else before we go to a vote? All right, Madam Clerk?
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Fewins-Bliss?
Yes.
Ms. Butler-Chalender, yes. Mr. Montri?
Yes.
Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Mr. Kotke?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. That motion carries. That brings us to the end of our content for the night, but we have a public statement number 2, where we invite the public who are in the room to come back up or come up for the first time. You have 3 minutes to talk about any topic. It could be about what we just discussed, or any township topic you'd like to share with us. Again, step up to the lectern, introduce yourself. We'll start your 3 minutes, and let us know what you want to let us know.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me or not. This seems a little bit.
There you are.
Is that better? All right, I just used up 7 seconds of my time. All right, so I have a few questions that you can ask probably pretty quickly, and then I have some other comments. Legal
Excuse me.
time frame.
Can you tell me your name?
Oh, Catherine Motica. What is the legal time frame notice of this meeting to the residents? And did you give us enough notice for this meeting?
18 hours, of course. We always follow the law.
All right, so, but you also added something to the agenda, which is what you mentioned.
No.
You mentioned that you added something to the agenda.
No, I just distributed a memo. It wasn't an agenda item.
Okay, all right. What is the law regarding notice or explanations of that which will be on November's ballot?
I'll turn that to our legal counsel because I am not educated enough to answer that.
I just want to make sure, I mean, she's being blocked for 3 minutes. If the board wants me to respond, I can, but I also want to be respectful of the time you've
Yeah,
allocated.
thank you, I appreciate that. If you could get back to me. Karen stated that there was an increase in millage for a fire truck.
No.
Yeah, she did mention that.
Then she misspoke. There has not
Okay.
been an increase in the millage for the fire truck.
Okay.
There was an increase in the public safety millage, but we have not put any of that aside for a fire truck.
Okay, it was, I think she misspoke. Comments about the original speaker was referenced to. Would any of you have made any comments towards that had he stayed in the room? I didn't appreciate that, and you're talking about professionalism. I didn't think it was very professional that any of you brought up his comments as though to push them aside. He's a senior, and I think he has real concerns. Cost of surveying communities throughout Michigan will be tens of thousands of dollars. I think someone mentioned 15,000. My son is an urban developer, incredibly expensive. You have to look at the economy of the area, you have to look at population breakdown, cost of housing, how close you are to shopping centers, the cost of education in your area. It's not apples to apples. This is apples to oranges or bananas to grapes, okay? And of course, you're all going to defend the position of looking at options, either cutting expenditures or getting it on the November's ballot. If you have an increase in your salaries, you're going to be able to pay the increase in the tax assessed on your property. Other people in the township aren't getting those same increases. So I don't think it's necessarily, I think, in a sense, you're all biased because of that. If you all get a raise, you can easily pay for this tax increase. We're not all getting a raise. A lot of us are on Social Security, limited pensions, limited incomes, and I think that's something to consider. I have a rhetorical question. Why was the cloud so expensive? I paid $299 for 200 gigabytes. And
We're at your time if you want to wrap up.
The $102 isn't a point. The point is the principle. People are asking us for money, cost of gas, groceries, senior care, education. It's all going up.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the board?
Me again, Margaret. My good one. I probably in this room have lived in this community longer than everybody here, with the exception of maybe Ray. And I'm just gonna give you my opinion, because I know a lot of people and I talk to a lot of people in this community. I think if you try to propose another increase of any amount and don't show the public that you're maybe trying to implement some cuts also, they're gonna get the feeling that you're not trying. And I think you have a good chance of it not passing in whatever you propose. That's just my opinion, and I'm giving another opinion. Mr. Fewins-Bliss, we didn't have any parks and rec people 50 years ago. We didn't have any kind of parks and rec thing here until early 2000, and I believe Christie might have been the first person. That lady sitting right back there is the best Parks and Rec director you've ever had here. She ran more programs and did more things for this community than anybody that we've ever had here. And I'm probably a little biased because it's my wife, but I just want to clarify that I think that was kind of I'm going to say a loose statement on your part to make that assumption that whoever the person is now is the best in 50 years, because we haven't even had Parks and Rec for that long. I'm not saying that person's not doing a decent job, but we don't offer, since you made changes here and Becky left, we don't offer things for them, and we hear about it all the time. I could fill this room with people that have flagged us down on the street and stuff and want to know why they don't offer things for the kids and the amount of programs that they used to do. So I just want to throw that out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Would anyone else like to address the board tonight?
Debbie Burns, I want to agree with like everything that's been said. It's the principle, you can say it's just $100 or $200. When your taxes go up every bill, and we had the same scenario as you, but for our taxes to double in 4 years, that's ridiculous. And just to see them continue to rise every bill, I mean, maybe it's like you don't have a problem paying additional money. It's the principle of it, and just the environment we live in as well, with high gas, which hopefully will come down. It's just extremely frustrating.
Thank you, Debbie. Would anyone else like to address the board?
Can you go up twice?
No,
Come on,
sorry.
Jason.
But you're welcome to talk to us after the board meeting. All right, I don't see anybody else heading up to the lectern. Thank you to the public for sharing your thoughts. I'm going to close public statement, and then we'll end with board comments, and I believe it is Kate's turn to start.
You have a list down there?
I do. But I am wrong, it's Sherry's, I'm sorry. Sherry, go ahead.
I was like, are you sure it's from Sharon?
I misread it.
You're dyslexic.
To your point, I agree, they can call the office, but people don't. And so many people, and it was posted, they want to double my taxes. And that perception is out there. We have to go after that wholeheartedly, or no matter whether it's 1 or 2 mils or 10 mils, they're going to turn it down again. And obviously, I think, to your point, 84% of increased and passed. We have to do something better.
Thanks, Sherry.
My turn? Okay. I just want to say that I quite often say things off the top of my head when I want to. I don't keep my mouth shut. And Kathy, that's one of the reasons I said something about the man's comments, because I should say, if he would have stayed, he would have heard my comments, because I would have still said them, and I would still repeat them. So it's not disrespectful at all.
You don't have a right to
I-
talk.
We don't have a back and forth right now.
I'm just,
If I can't get up there and rebut what you're saying.
Miss, he does.
You don't have a right to talk.
Miss, he does.
No, not to address me
He
personally.
does, miss. Please,
does
let us
not.
go on.
okay, let me just say that the person that said that, in general.
Thank you.
No comment. It was a great meeting. I think we're doing what we need to do.
We're doing what we have to do.
Thank you to the board for coming together at such short notice. We knew that this might happen, and we prepared for it. We also, I want to be clear, discussed that openly in previous board meetings, so this was all on the record in public. We knew we'd have a quick turnaround depending on what happened on Tuesday because of the deadline next week, which is, I will admit, frustrating that we don't have a lot of time to think more deeply and gather more data and do more comparisons. I would love to do that, but part of that is we don't have too many staff in our township office to be able to run this data overnight for us. So that is frustrating, and I share that frustration with the public. I want to say, I feel the anger of folks about being asked this question, but I just want to underscore what Kate said. This is our job, is to try to take the information in, make the best decision we think possible for us and our neighbors, and then to ask the public that question. And the public then, their role is to tell us yes or no. And I'm not mad that the public told us no. I think we asked
I'm
the
not
question,
either.
they
Not at all.
said no, and I think that's absolutely fair, and I think we own some of that, as I've stated before. But I will say where I'm frustrated and really disappointed is in the engagement about humans. And this is what Kate, I think, was alluding to earlier. The hatred toward our staff, the hatred toward board members, threats, calling names, the accusations that we're embezzling money, that we're constantly giving ourselves thousands of dollars in raises, that we're getting kickbacks. It's really, really difficult to take that in. A no vote on a millage is everyone's right, and we take that message, but no one up here is committing a crime by doing these things. And if, again, anybody has any evidence of that, take it to our police chief, take it to the sheriff, take it to the prosecutor. I encourage you, if you have examples of that, those should be prosecuted. Those folks should go to jail. We have no evidence of that. It's just your neighbors, us. We live right next door to you, trying to do what's best. And you may disagree, and that is healthy and great in democracy. And I encourage folks, if they think they can do differently and better, run in 2028. It's a tough gig, but run. Come sit up here, help make these decisions.
Get your name on the ballot.
That is what is important and part of the process. But I'd encourage folks not to go on Facebook, not to go out in public, not to come to our meetings, call people names, threaten them, tell folks that they're crooks, tell our staff they deserve to be paid minimum wage. It's insulting, and it's just not helpful. You can be angry, but you can be angry in a respectful way, which I think many of the people up here showed us today. And with that, to wrap up and to address the call for my own resignation, I'm not going to resign. I think it's a weak thing for a supervisor to resign after the people have called me to do a hard job. So I'm going to continue to do the hard job, continue to tell me where I missed the mark. Happy to do that, but I think it is a very weak supervisor to resign this position. Brenda.
I just want to thank you guys for sharing all your thoughts. It's greatly appreciated. And I do hope that we can get some emails, some more information out to the residents. I want to encourage you guys to call the assessor. It's very important. We do take the time. We probably could even stay open at night if somebody wants to walk in, hold something like that.
Good idea.
We're always asking for your input. Give us your thoughts. It helps.
Adam. Thank you, Brenda.
I'd also say thank you to the board. Thank you for the public for being here and for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for people in the video. Thank you to the people online who have shared them in a humanistic way, and maybe to those that haven't. That also shows.
It is human.
Yes, it is also human.
Good or bad.
And I would also like to say, $107 is a lot to our family. I don't know, Kate is about to send someone to college. Next week, I am sending, Drew and I are sending a kid to college. $100 at this point, with the tuition bill that just came, and housing, and books, and all of those.
Far away.
Yes, in Arizona, it's all of those, $100 is $100, or $50 is $50. I don't want it to come across that, and I'm sorry if it did, is that it's $100, and I'm not getting a raise, or Drew may get a raise, I don't want it to come across that is not a lot of money. Any money, especially in the current economic situation, is a lot of money.
That's a tank of gas, $100.
That's, my truck is more than that.
Mine too.
So, thank you, thank you for coming and attending and for sharing, and
Thanks, Adam. Kate, you want to round us out?
Sure. I also want to thank everybody for coming. It's nice to have public for our public comment, even if they are dissenting statements from what we express here. I think that is the healthy part of local government. And we put ourselves out here when we put our names on the ballot. And I think part of that job is taking that feedback. Whether you agree with it or like it or want to hear it or not, I think that is part of our job, is to listen to the people in Bath Township. And secondly, I want to give a huge shout out to the people who just completed this last election. Because even though it wasn't a big election, as some has mentioned, I think it was equally as much work. I saw them setting up at the precincts around the township days beforehand, organizing the people, training the people, and it was all done very professionally and accurately and knowledgeably. And it takes a lot of resources and a lot of time, and I know there are a lot of late nights and a lot of hard work that goes into this, and it seems like each election gets more intense and complex. So I just wanted to say that I hope our community appreciates that, because having the ability to cast our vote is what our country's founded on. So thank you for allowing that to happen so smoothly in Bath Township.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thanks, yeah, thanks Brenda and your team. All right, with that, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion about adjournment? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We stand adjourned. Thank you.